Hello guys, welcome to another interesting class of Benco Institute. On today's class, we'll be looking at the piston. We'll be looking at the components of the piston and how the piston works in your generator. Basically, if there is any course or rather any tutorial you will need as a gas piston, I think this is the right tutorial. So without wasting much of your time, let's dive straight into this video and teach you guys how the piston works. I'll quickly take off this rings of this particular piston so that I can explain the function of various rings and basically the function of the piston itself. Okay, let me take this out. Okay, this particular piston, it's found in the Sumer SPG 8800 E2. Okay, let me take this out. I'm looking for this particular point, very necessary. Okay, all right, this is the bare piston and the bearings. Let me quickly take this out of the scene. Guys. We just shot a video that basically explains how the oil sensor, the oil switch, and the electrical component of a generator works, so that when there is no oil in your generator, the generator shuts down. Just check the video at the top of the screen, or basically check our channel, you'll see a video on that. Okay, let's focus on the piston now. Now, what's the function of a piston? Basically, a piston is one important component that aids combustion in your generator. Without a piston, combustion cannot take place, and the piston is built in such a way that it is light and it's able to withstand heat and pressure. The piston is made up of aluminum alloys. Okay, aluminum alloys make the piston light. Okay, if you decide to use other components like iron, it may not work perfectly well and it will be heavy. So aluminum alloy just does the job. All right, so in the piston we have different components. This is called the piston head. Okay, this particular part visible now is called the piston head. This part of the piston is called the piston skirt. Okay, however, this particular hole here houses two major components, the gudgeon pin. Okay, I will show you guys as the class progresses where the gudgeon pin, how you can find the gudgeon pin in this particular engine. This particular engine will be dismantled to basically explain how the piston works for you guys. So just watch this video to the end. You'll see how I dismantled this and explain to you guys how the piston works and how to fix a piston and the rings. All right, okay, so we have the gudgeon pin here, the gudgeon here rather, and we have the pin, the side pin, which stops the gudgeon pin from moving when it's inside your generator. Okay, this is what we have here. And before I forget again, we have this particular pause. They are pause. Okay, the function of this is to transport oil from engine oil from inside of the engine to the surface of the piston. If I'm to put an engine oil here now, you will discover oil will eventually come out from it. Let's do that so you have an idea of how it works. So this is me assuming. Okay, I think this is too much. Okay, if you notice very well, engine oil is coming out from this pause. Okay, engine oil is coming out from this pause. What this does now is when engine oil comes out, it lubricates these particular edges. So when the piston goes up and down the cylinder wall, it doesn't worn out. It doesn't work iron to iron. Okay, instead there's a lubricant here that allows the easy movement. All right, that said, these particular points are called the groove. This is called a groove, this is called a groove, and this is called a groove. Okay. The function of the groove is to house these rings. It's basically to house these rings. These two grooves houses the pressure rings or the compression rings, as some people would want to call it. It houses the compression rings or the pressure rings. Okay, we have two pressure rings in portable generators like this, and mostly engines as well. Mostly two pressure rings in engines, one here, one here. Okay, by the time we are done with the video, you will be able to understand how to even fix back these rings and the relevant angles to fix the rings. Just be patient, guys. And then we have another rings called the oil rings. Okay, we have another rings called the oil rings, and eventually by the side of the oil rings we have the scraper. The scraper is basically to hold the oil rings in position, and we also have the packing rings. These packing rings is basically to sufficiently allows the oil rings to fit in the cylinder wall so that oil does not leak to the end of this. I will explain that when we are further dissecting the generator. So these basically are the components of this piston rings. Okay, these basically are the components of this piston rings. So let's lose out our generator now so that we can properly install a piston rings into this generator. So guys, in order to be able to show you guys how the piston works and how to properly fix in the rings to the piston, I decided to take out the top cylinder. This is the top cylinder, and then I decided to also take out the starter so that there will be opportunity for me to easily rotate the pulley while fixing the piston. Okay guys, first thing first, I will have to take out this piston. Okay, I will have to take out this piston, then refix it so that you guys have a better understanding. All right, let's go. Taking out a piston is not difficult as most people think it is. Actually, all you just need to do is to disconnect this connecting rod from the crankshaft. This is the crankshaft and this is the connecting rod. The connecting rod helps the piston. Okay, if you notice very well, the reason this piston can move up and down when I rotate this, the crankshaft, is because of the connecting rod. Okay, you can see it properly. That is why it moves. The connecting rod helps in the movement of the piston to and fro the cylinder walls. Okay, I hope you understand that perfectly. So let me take out the piston, but before then I will have to lose the connecting rod. Okay guys, we've taken out the top of the con rod. Well, one more thing to do is to push out the piston. In cases where you try to push out, it doesn't work out, just add a little force. Okay guys, we've taken out the piston, and you recall the connecting rod I always talked about. This is the connecting rod. Okay, this is how it is, and then this is where the crankshaft is connected. This is how it's connected, so that when the crankshaft rotates, just like it's rotating inside of the engine now, this comes up and down, okay. That's how. The next thing we'll be doing now is we'll be fixing the piston back inside. But before fixing the piston back inside, I'll teach you guys how to arrange the rings properly, so that when you fix your piston, your generator doesn't smoke. Because that is another thing. Sometimes some people will decide to change their piston, and after changing their piston, immediately they kickstart the generator after changing piston and rings. A brand new for Christ's sake. That's what they change. They put a brand new one and the gen starts smoking. And so if you stay with me to the end of this video, I assure you will be able to fix this piston, and when you change your piston, your generator will no longer smoke. Okay, just stay put. All right, let me take out the individual rings. Earlier I talked about the pressure rings. This is the pressure rings. We have 2 pressure rings in this generator, in this piston, I mean to say. Okay, pressure rings is out, and then we'll take out the scraper. Okay, the scraper is basically to put the oil rings in position. Please be careful so you don't get yourself injured. Scraper is out. We have 2 scrapers at both sides of the oil rings. And what you look for now is the position where you can put in your screwdriver and just take it out. Okay, it's out now, and then we take out the oil rings. There is still one thing left. For a brand new generator, most brand new generators do not have it. So if you buy a brand new generator, and of course maybe you decide for some reason just to check for the piston and rings, because the only reason I feel you should be losing that is maybe you want to practicalize 1 or 2, but I wouldn't advise you to lose out your generator when it's brand new just to check up on the rings and piston, please. But if you buy a brand new generator, you wouldn't find these oil rings, these packing rings, I mean to say. Okay, this is the packing rings. This is basically used for generators that you are changing the pistons. Okay, most brand new generators do not come with packing rings. Okay, let that be clear, please. So trying to install back this piston, what do we do? That's where the biggest question lies now. Okay, the first thing we do, like I always tell anybody, is to fix back the oil rings. Before fixing back the oil rings anyway, since you are fixing another piston, you add a packing rings to it. The reason we are fixing this scraper is so that this piston will fit into the cylinder work properly, so that there is no leakage of air. By leakage of air, I mean when this thing is properly fit, if air from the sides comes to the top, there will be no pressure in the generator, and at that point you will think perhaps your valve is bad. It's not bad, but your rings has issues, or your packing rings has issues, as the case may be. But basically it is advisable when you are changing a new piston, you add this to it. So we have to fit this in, and after fitting this in, we're fixing the oil rings. After fixing in the oil rings, we're fixing the scrapers. Okay, this is the third thing we'll fix. After fixing in the scrapers, we're fixing the 2 pressure rings in no particular order. For this kind of generators, the pressure rings are in no particular order. But for some other generators that the pressure rings are in different order, you will see the rings written 1, 2. But for this particular rings, it is no particular order. And let me talk about this gudgeon pin. I made mention of this gudgeon pin, right? When earlier on in the video, I talked about how the gudgeon pin helps in connecting the connecting rod to the piston. The gudgeon pin helps in what? In connecting the connecting rod to the piston. All right, let's fix this piston and the rings. Okay. First thing first, we wash. It's very important. If you work with me, I do this a lot. When it comes to fixing piston and rings, I do not debate this. I always make sure everything is in clean condition. Okay, let me take this out. This was the earlier piston and rings I used for the analysis. Let's take that out. So see what we have here now. Very clean, right? Good. What we do next now is to properly wash these rings. This, I'm doing this just to explain to you guys. Okay, so you see the amount of work we put into these videos just for you guys. If you haven't subscribed, I honestly do not know what you are waiting for. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe to this channel, turn on notification bell, so when other videos are posted, you are among the first to see them. Going on, let's fix in the packing rings. Okay, the packing rings, it's easily fitted. Okay, we are using the old packing rings that came with this particular piston, that they fix with this piston. Otherwise, if I'm using a fresh packing rings, all I need to do is basically to soften the edges so that it just like this. You see the way I'm softening the edges now, just to bend it so it becomes circular, more circular, and fits in to this properly. Okay, but now this already fits into it, so no much work should be done. Up next, we fix the oil rings. Okay, oil rings still in no position. Okay, just fix any way you want. These are not really necessary, but when you get to the pressure rings, please, you will have to take proper attention, take proper care, because the arrangement, if you give it a poor arrangement, I'm sorry, your generator will either smoke or worn out your cylinder walls. So let's be careful with this, please.
Make sure that one goes and one goes to the top, right?
Okay. Okay, remember I said the scraper is at different side of the oil rings. Okay, I've placed the scraper at this end, and I will place the other scraper at the other end now. Okay, remember I said the placement, it doesn't really matter, the position you put it doesn't really matter, but make sure they are not at the same. Okay, maybe I should explain this better now. See what I did? I placed the first one here and I pushed the other one to this. There's a reason for that. Even though I already said placement does not matter, but it is necessary you don't put them at the same side. Okay, now we'll fix the packing rings. Okay, we'll fix the oil rings, and now we'll fix the bolt scrapers at either side of the oil rings. Up next, now we'll fix the pressure rings. If you notice very well, I have used pressure rings or compression rings alternatively while talking about these particular rings. That is because they both mean the same thing. Remember I said the pressure rings do not have numbering, especially for this kind of generators, they do not have numbering, so you can fix either of them first. I can decide to fix this first and decide to fix this later. But most of the times, while learning this particular skill, I have over time found myself fixing the black one, the one that appears to be darker, first. Okay, so I will keep up with that tradition, but however, it still means nothing. You can fix this first before this fixes. It still means nothing. So let's fix now. This is where the mathematics in me comes into play. Okay, and so I'll fix the first one first, and then I'll be fixing the second one now. Now, see what we have. We have the packing rings fitted in, we have the oil rings fitted in, we have the scraper fitted in at both sides of the oil rings, we have our two pressure rings fitted in. But now that they are fitted in, you can't just, because they are fitted in, place them inside the engine of the generator and say voila, I'm able to properly fix my rings. No, that's not how it works. How it works is this: you have to make sure the angle between the two pressure rings are 120 degrees from each other. Okay, so that is what we'll do now. Even though we may not be exact with the degree, but we should be around that range. How do you know it's 120 degrees from each other? You put one rings at this edge at this edge, just on top of the P position here. Let's see. If you notice, well, this is what we have. We do this, right? The space between one pressure rinse is here, and the space between the other pressure rinse is somewhere there. We know a complete circle has 360 degrees, right? Good. If we slap this like this, half, let's say somewhere like this, what do we have? We have angle on a straight line. We already have 180 degree. If we slap this again, somewhere like this, what do we have? We now have another angle on a straight line. So what we have here now is we have 4 different angles that make up 360 here. We have 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and then we have angle on a straight line here. Okay, so these two, looking at it, not with even your mathematical formula, you will know that these two are the same, right? And then these two are the same. So if you look at this and this is 120, 120, that's 240, and these two that are the same, if you combine both of them together, which is 60, 60, it will give you another 120. I don't know if you get that explanation right, but I really do hope you get it. Did you get it?
That explanation, you should have just used this point and that point.
Okay, no need for explaining again, Abi. All right. We've been told here that the guy behind the camera, Mr. Hope, said he understands basically what I meant, but he doesn't know if you guys understand. So instead of talking about degrees and degrees, I should just draw the line like this and draw the line like this, and you pick the one at the top. Or better still, just use the one I've explained earlier. Use the one I've explained earlier, where this matches this and this other edge matches this, instead of going around explaining this. I think that's better, right? That's better. I think that's what we use. So guys, if you are fixing a piston and a rinse and you get to this particular point, just make sure one part of this rinse, this particular part, should face here, okay, and this other particular part should face here. Why do we do this? So that the oil, for some reason, let's assume your rings are wearing out or your piston is wearing out, and for some reason oil wants to splash to the top of the piston, and because you know when oil eventually gets to the top of your piston, that is when your oil starts shorting. That is when you discover that you put oil in your generator and after 20 minutes the oil is dry, or sometimes after 2 days the oil is dry, and that's when you also observe that your generator starts smoking. That is because oil have eventually found its way to this particular top. So the reason we are doing all this is to further delay oil from coming to this particular top. So even if for some reason oil manages to get to this particular point, when it struggles through here, it's not going to pass here outrightly to the top. It has to struggle again and take this route. Okay, I hope that explanation is nice enough. But if you still do not get this, well, you can just click on the join button on our channel here, where we explain some principles way better with different videos to you guys. So if you click on any of the plan that where you can connect to us on social media, that will be fine as well. You can connect to us on WhatsApp. I will teach you this. We don't mind spending hours teaching you this alone, so you have a better understanding of it. So let's continue, guys. What we do next is to clip this together. Okay, what we do next is to clip this together. But before we do that, I am an advocate of proper lubrication. Adding lubricants to your piston is something I do very, very well. So it is necessary you lubricate this as well, so it's easy for it to go in. Okay, however, if you notice very well, this is a used oil. The reason I'm using this used oil is because it is just a tutorial class. It's not like I am going to use this for the engine originally. I always use a fresh oil. Okay, so the next thing we'll do now is to let me fix this in properly. Okay, I think it's well fitted. The next thing is to tighten the clip. Why tighten the clip? I think I missed that. Sorry, we have to loose again and properly fit in. Okay, I think it's proper now. So while you are tightening, make sure you look around so you don't mistakenly over tight in the wrong direction and eventually spoil your rings. It's so bad, it's very, very bad if you're faced with situations like that. Okay guys, so we've properly fitted this, right? What do we do next? The next thing we do now is to, let me lubricate again. Like I've always said, I lubricate. The next thing we do now is to push this in to the crankshaft, connect it to the crankshaft, and then we would have successfully connected or successfully fixed our piston. So we hit it gently.
About the side facing up.
This side
Let's
facing.
talk about the side facing up.
Okay, that's because I didn't take off this gudgeon. Do you get? I didn't take off this. Okay, before I fix it just now, I have to take this out. Before I fix it just now, I recall I haven't explained this and how it works. Remember the connecting rod I always talked about, the connecting rod connected to the crankshaft? Please, while you are fixing this in, make sure this side is facing downwards, the longer part. Okay, if you see it now, the longer part is facing downwards and not the other way around. That is how it works. And why does that work? Why does it work that way? Because at the end of the day, when this is fitted, if it's not properly fitted, or rather if this is facing upwards, this would not have space to work properly, and you end up destroying your engine or destroying this conrod, this part of the conrod. So please take cognizance of that and make sure this faces down. So let's go again. We hit it gently. Okay, so guys, we've fitted it in. If you notice very well, we applied a little pressure to the piston and it came in properly. There's always a test I do when I have inserted the piston into the cylinder. What I do basically is this: I make sure the piston is not too tight, because while you are trying to fit it in, you may not really know if the piston is too tight or not. But after fitting it in, there's this particular test I do. So let's look at the test together, guys. What I do is this: before tightening the conrod to the crankshaft, I try to use my hand to move the pulley a little. And if with just a movement of my hand I can move this piston, let me take it down a little. Okay. If with the movement of my hand, just moving the pulley, and in fact I'm using my left hand. My left hand, I want to believe, is not as strong as my right hand. So if with my left hand I'm able to move the pulley and the pulley pushes the crankshaft, which essentially pushes the piston, I know the piston is not too tight to the cylinder wall. That is one test you must do. If you don't do it that way and it is very tight, I'm sorry, you are damaging the block of your generator. That is why sometimes people fix a new piston and it both damages the piston and damages the block. So are we good with that? We're almost done with this tutorial, guys. I hope this tutorial is not too long. So what we need to do now is to tighten the conrod. So let me move this in a little. Sorry. So the next thing to do is to tighten the conrod. That is the last thing. In fact, that's the last thing we want to do in this particular tutorial. Okay guys, here we go. And before I tighten the conrod, I always tell you I'm an advocate of proper lubrication. I have to properly lubricate the top of the conrod again and fit it in. Okay. So up next, we fit in the connecting rod bolts. We fit in the connecting rod bolts and then we properly tighten. So guys, that is it from us from this particular video. I hope you've learned a lot. You've learned how to identify, you basically learned how to identify the piston. You learned the various parts of the piston. You learned the type of rings you have in your generator, especially a portable generator like this. You also learned how the rings functions, and not just that, you know how to fix in your piston. You know the right angles at which you can fix in your piston. By now you know the normal right angle to fix in your piston rings now is 120 degrees. And not just that, you understand proper lubrication of your rings when fixing it in. And of course, you can now, in my opinion, I believe you can now fit in your own piston of your small generator. This is a perfect tutorial class on how this small engine piston and rings works. Okay, we'll be doing other tutorials, a lot of tutorials guys. Probably in our next tutorial we'll explain deeply how the governor works, the governor of a generator. That's a very huge tutorial. That's one principle I didn't know when I learned this skill, but now I think I teach it perfectly. So I'm going to teach you guys that. So stay put, stay with us in this particular channel, and then so you enjoy the goodies. Still meet in our next class guys. Please, goodbye from us. Before the goodbye, please do not leave now. Make sure you join our community. Just click on the join button around this video. You join our community, and then you can as well support us. We'll be dropping some links for your support guys. Just support us guys. So meet in our next class. Is goodbye from us. Take care.